Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into AI-powered rendering for architectural models.
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
We've got some great material, mainly from a YouTube video by Lutwoka over at CADBIMHELP. And our goal really is to figure out which of these AI tools can actually take a 3D model and turn it into something useful, realistic, stylized, whatever works.
Exactly. It's not just about pretty pictures, is it? It's about tools that designers can genuinely use. I mean, he's got over 20 years in design software. Plus, he's really focused now on AI in the AEC industry.
Right, and he consults internationally too, so he has that broad view. And the way he set up this comparison in the video is really smart. He took one 3D model, this desert house design, and one text prompt.
House in the desert, yeah.
And used that across all the different AI services.
Which is perfect for seeing how they actually stack up, apples to apples.
Oh.
And before we jump into the AI stuff specifically, he kind of sets the scene, right? And talks about the usual ways of visualizing.
Yeah, like the basic stuff, just adding materials in SketchUp or Allplan, Revit, Archicad. Quick, but
Not very realistic, no.
then there's using a standard renderer, often built in, gives you a bit more realism.
Right, things like ZWCAD, AutoCAD, MicroStation, Revit have those. He points out SketchUp doesn't anymore, interestingly.
Which leads to the next level up.
Yeah, the advanced photorealistic stuff. Your
Yeah.
V-Rays, Inscapes, Lumions, and that's why SketchUp Studio bundles V-Ray now. It makes sense.
Okay. And he also mentions desktop versus cloud rendering.
Resource-wise.
But our focus, and his main focus in the video, is this AI rendering using neural networks,
Right.
which is mostly cloud-based, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That's where the heavy lifting happens. So should we dive into the first category he tested?
Let's do it. Text to image. What was the deal there?
So the idea is simple.
Mhm.
You just type text, like house in the desert,
Mhm.
and the AI makes a picture. He used a Microsoft service, Copilot too.
Okay. And the results? Using that house in the desert prompt.
Well, they looked cool. Interesting images, quite impressive aesthetically, actually.
But there's always a but.
But, crucially, none of them looked anything like the 3D model he started with. The geometry was completely different.
So great for maybe like mood boards or concept art.
Exactly. Or maybe backgrounds. But for showing this specific design, nope, not the right tool.
Got it. Okay, category 1, not suitable for visualizing existing models. What was next?
Next up was image to video AI. So you give it an image and text, and it makes a little video clip.
An image of the model, presumably?
Yeah, probably a screenshot or a basic render. And the same prompt. He tried 3 different services he found online. The videos were short, just a few seconds.
And did feeding it an image help it, understand the building's shape better?
Not really enough. He said sometimes it got the basic idea, like, okay, it's a multi-story house.
Yeah.
But the actual geometry, it got changed quite a bit in all 3 tests.
Changed how?
He called it improvisation. The AI was just kind of making things up, altering the layout significantly.
Right. Improvisation is not what you want when you're trying to show a client the final design.
Definitely not. So, same verdict, really. These image-to-video tools, at least the ones he tried, are not suitable for professional model visualization. Too much guesswork, not enough accuracy.
Okay, so text to image is out, image to video is out for accuracy. What's category 3?
Category 3 used hybrid data, again, image plus text, but this time to generate a still image, not video.
Trying to give the AI that visual starting point from the image plus the text prompt for style and context?
Exactly. He tested one service here, and, well, there were slight improvements.
Oh, like what?
It seemed to pick up on things like the wall and roof colors from the image and the general way the house was facing, the orientation.
Okay, that's something. But the geometry?
Still had major problems.
Yeah.
He mentioned one example where a facade should have had 2 windows, and the AI render came back with 4.
Yikes. That's a pretty big miss.
It is. So again, despite using the image, it just wasn't accurate enough. Didn't pass the test for professional use because of those geometric inconsistencies.
All right. Seems like we're striking out here. But the next category, this is where things get more interesting, right? Hybrid data again, but 3D model plus text.
Yes, exactly. And first up was SketchUp Diffusion.
Okay, tell me about that one.
Well, what's neat is it's integrated right into the desktop SketchUp, but it uses the cloud for processing. So the workflow is pretty slick.
How does it work?
You give it your text prompt, choose a style like exterior in this case, and then you've got options, sliders even, to control how much weight is given to the original geometry versus the text prompt.
Yeah, that's interesting. You kind of balance it.
Yeah. And you can add negative prompts, too, like he mentioned telling it not to put stones in the desert scene.
Handy. And the speed. Did it take long?
The video showed it happening pretty much in real time. It generated 3 different variations from the one prompt.
Oh.
Relatively quick.
Okay, the crucial question. How was the geometry? Did it match the model?
This is where it got good, yes. The house placement was right. The geometry was accurate. Roofs, walls, the right number of windows and doors, no weird extra bits.
Finally?
There were some minor things, he noted, like distorted railings on one, a transparent garage door on another. But he thought that might be because the prompt was quite simple, didn't specify textures or quality much.
Fair enough, but overall,
Suitable.
definitely. He considered it suitable for professional use. And it has this really cool feature.
Go on.
You can save the render as a SketchUp scene.
What does that mean exactly?
It basically overlays the rendered image perfectly onto your 3D model inside SketchUp. So you can be looking at the nice render, click on, say, a window in the render, and it selects the actual 3D window geometry in your model.
Whoa. That's clever. Does it update live if you change the model?
Not yet, he said. It's not a live link in that sense. But just being able to check the render back to the model elements like that, it's a big step for workflow integration. Yeah, I can see that being incredibly useful for presentations, for checking things. So SketchUp Diffusion gets a thumbs up. Did he test another one in this 3D plus text category?
Well, the next one, Google AI Studio, was slightly different input-wise. It used image plus text, actually.
Ah, okay. So back to using the screenshot.
Yes. Same screenshot of the desert house, same prompt.
And how fast was Google's version?
Super fast. First result in just 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Seriously. What about the geometry? Please tell me it kept the geometry.
It did. Perfectly identical to the original model.
Okay. Progress.
What it changed was the environment. It added the desert in front, some plants, a road. Didn't add anything behind the house, though.
Huh.
But Dimitri counted that as a success because the prompt didn't ask it to change the house itself, just place it in the desert. So respected the design.
Makes sense. It did what it was asked, basically. Did he push it further?
He did. He changed the prompt slightly to explicitly say, place the house in the desert, hoping for more environment. It added more desert, yeah, and it changed the camera angle a bit. Yeah. But the render quality itself was still pretty basic, like you could do in SketchUp anyway.
So he wasn't done yet?
Nope. He then took that last result and prompted it again. Make it realistic. Keep the same view.
Ah, iterating on the result.
Exactly. The first try took 5 seconds, then 9 seconds, and the final one, the realistic one, he called very pleasing, took 49 seconds.
And crucially, the geometry stayed accurate through all that.
Yes. All the Google AI Studio results kept the original geometry perfectly. The changes were all based on the prompts, so all variations were considered successful.
Okay, so Google AI Studio also seems very suitable for professional visualization.
Definitely.
So we have our 2 winners, SketchUp Diffusion and Google AI Studio. How did they compare head-to-head in his analysis?
Right. He broke it down. Ease of use, both great, easy to pick up, a tie.
Accessibility.
Google AI Studio was free when he reviewed it. SketchUp Diffusion is part of a paid license, so Google wins on accessibility.
Geometry preservation.
Both excellent. Another tie.
Okay. What about controlling the output with text prompts?
He called that a tie, too. Google's based on a large language model, so very flexible. SketchUp also uses prompts, plus those negative prompts. Good control on both.
But what about controlling the geometry's influence specifically? You mentioned SketchUp had a slider for that.
Exactly. SketchUp won there. Google AI Studio didn't have that specific geometry influence setting.
Any other features? Extras.
SketchUp won again. Google didn't really have extras mentioned in this test, but SketchUp had that scene-saving feature, plus hints of other extended features for maybe another time.
Right, the scene-saving is a big one. How about the look, the realism?
That was judged a tie, but with different styles. Google went for photorealistic. SketchUp had more of a cinematic look, which he also liked. Different flavors, both good.
Okay, and one last thing. Could you rework the renders? Iterate.
Google AI Studio won that one.
Yeah.
Because he did iterate on the result with further prompts. SketchUp Diffusion, once it generates the images, that's kind of it. You can't then tweak that specific render with more text.
Gotcha. So it's a bit of a trade-off then. Google's free, allows iteration. SketchUp has deeper integration, that scene feature, and geometry control.
Pretty much sums it up. Both strong contenders, just with different strengths.
But wait, there was more, wasn't there? He tested ChatGPT, too, kind of a last-minute addition.
He did, yeah. Threw ChatGPT and its image tools into the ring.
Okay, how did standard ChatGPT do with the same image and prompt?
So first attempt, it didn't even make a render, needed prompt tweaking. Second try took about 2.5 minutes, sped up in the video, of course.
And the result?
Error. It added extra windows that weren't in the original design.
Oh dear, not good. But ChatGPT has editing tools, right? Could he fix it?
He tried. Used the mask tool to remove the extra windows. But that errored out. Had to do it again, another 2 minutes gone.
The final edited image.
Not good at all. It only removed one of the extra windows, and in the process, it messed up other things. The garage window, the railing, the veranda depth, even the garage door shape and location got changed.
Wow, sounds like more trouble than it was worth.
Definitely. The verdict for standard GPT: unsuitable, too inaccurate, and the editing tool was problematic.
Okay. What about Sora? That can do images too, right?
Yeah, he tested Sora's image generation. Took about 2 minutes. Result: also had an extra window.
Deja vu. Did the editing work better this time?
He tried removing the extra window with the tool again. Took another 2.5 minutes. It did remove the window this time.
Whoa.
But other geometry problems were still there, or new ones popped up. Issues with the garage window and door, second floor windows, missing columns, problems with the first floor window wall. The mask tool just seemed to cause unwanted changes again.
So Sora wasn't the answer either.
Nope. He felt it was maybe slightly better than the first GPT test, but still way too many deviations from the actual model geometry. Not suitable for professional architecture work.
Man, the big name's not doing so well here. Was there one more from the ChatGPT family?
Yeah, image generator. This one asked questions first about quality, purpose, platform before rendering.
And then?
Then it rendered fast. But the result was like that first Microsoft test, totally unrelated to the input model's geometry. Just some random desert house.
So didn't even bother trying to edit that one, I assume?
No point. Clearly not suitable.
Right. So across the board, the ChatGPT suite didn't make the cut in this particular comparison.
Not for accurately visualizing a specific architectural model? No. Which brings us back to his final conclusion.
Google AI Studio and SketchUp Diffusion are the recommended tools from this AI render battle.
Exactly. Those are the two that could actually take the model and produce an accurate, useful visualization based on the prompt.
Okay, so let's recap the winners. Google AI Studio, easy to use, free access at the time, great geometry preservation, flexible prompts, and that cool iteration feature. And SketchUp Diffusion, also great on geometry, good prompt control, including negatives, that unique geometry influence setting, the killer scene-saving integration with SketchUp, and that distinct cinematic style.
Yeah, that covers it. And, thinking about these results, it really makes you wonder about the future of architectural visualization.
How so?
Well, how might these different strengths influence workflows? Like, could Google AI Studio's iteration ability make client feedback sessions more dynamic? You could tweak things on the fly, almost.
Yeah, I could see that.
Whereas SketchUp Diffusion's tight integration might make visualization less of a separate step and more just part of the design process internally, constantly checking the look as you model.
That's a really interesting thought. And it brings up other questions too, right? Like what other criteria become important? Maybe render speed for final high-res images.
Or cost for a big office.
Right, yeah.
Or how well they handle really, really complex models or super specific artistic styles.
Exactly. There are probably lots of other factors depending on the specific need.
For sure. And Dimitri actually finished his video by asking viewers to think about just that. What are the key criteria? Are there others he missed? It's a good prompt for all of us, really.
It is. So for everyone listening, maybe think about that. Based on what we've discussed, what stands out to you? What else would you need from an AI rendering tool in your work?
Yeah, it's a field that's changing so fast. Keeping tabs on these practical comparisons is can be pretty crucial for anyone in architecture, engineering, and construction, I think.